Today, we are going to bust through those limiting beliefs that are keeping you from taking action and going after your goals. Are you someone that has big dreams but just can't seem to find the confidence to start? Do you tell yourself lame excuses as to why you shouldn't even try, like, I'm not good at that, or I've never done that before? Well, we are throwing all of those limiting beliefs out the window and debunking every excuse you have ever told yourself. Any excuse as to why you've told yourself you're not good enough or why you shouldn't go after your dreams. Because the life you want is right on the other side. Hey y'all, welcome back to Reel It In. I'm your host Reed Cox, and this is your go-to destination for self-improvement and creating the life you've always desired, all while keeping it real. But before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you never miss a future episode. Throw me a like, leave a comment. Now let's get into it. Okay, limiting belief number 1, I'm not good at that. If I hear one more person use the excuse, I'm not good at this or I'm not good at that, as to why they shouldn't do something, I am gonna lose it. When people say this, it is one of my biggest pet peeves because what they're basically saying is, I'm lazy. When you say you're not gonna do something because you're not good at it, you're basically saying, I'm too lazy to put in the work to learn a new skill. Doesn't mean you have to be an expert at it, doesn't mean you have to be great at it, but we should constantly be putting our efforts into learning new skills, even if we turn out to be bad at them. Usually people use the excuse, I'm not good at that, because they don't want to have to put effort into something, because they don't want to have to put themselves out there on the line and learn a new skill. But that is such a lame excuse. Sometimes people use this excuse because they just don't want to be a team player either. So if you're someone that finds yourself saying, I can't do this because I'm not good at it. For instance, I don't want to give this presentation because I'm not good at giving presentations. Most people aren't, but it's a skill that you have to learn and push through in order to be in the workforce most of the time. And by learning the skill of public speaking or giving a presentation, you're gaining so much knowledge, a wealth of knowledge about yourself, of all these skills that you didn't even know you had. Instead of being someone that says, I'm not good at that, what if you were someone that says, that's pretty challenging for me, or I find that really intimidating? By first saying the feeling you're feeling when you think of doing this action and being honest and vulnerable about it, you are taking the first step to busting past that block. Because you're not saying you're not good at something, you're just saying you're scared. You're scared of failing. You're scared of looking stupid. And that is way more powerful than saying a finite statement like, I'm not good at that. Now, it is possible for you to say, I have better strengths. My skills are better put elsewhere. However, don't you want to be the kind of person that says they've tried everything, they've given it their best shot? So enough of saying you're not good with something. Try replacing it with, that seems like a challenging task. Or I tried it before and I'd love to try it again and get a different result. These are way more empowering statements. And who knows, maybe you try and you suck or you fail. Who cares? But don't limit yourself and your potential by saying you're not good at something. My cat is going crazy right now. Hey, Isabella. Excuse number 2, I've never done this before. Piggybacking off of excuse number 1. This is also an excuse not to grow. When you use the excuse, I've never done that before, you're basically saying you don't want to try something that you've never done before, but isn't the whole point of life to try new things and grow from those experiences? Because let me tell you something, growth is uncomfortable. And if you're bored in your life, it's probably because you're not putting yourself in circumstances that you haven't been in before. You're not giving yourself opportunities to grow. You should constantly be challenging yourself and putting yourself in situations that you've never been in before so you can gain experience. It's nothing to be embarrassed about if you've never done something before. I mean, I could say I've never started a huge business before. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna. If you've never done something before, that should be even more of a reason to go ahead and go for it. And just so you know, when you say statements like, I've never done that before with the intention of not doing it, or when you say, I'm not good at X, Y, or Z, what you're really telling people is that you're not someone they want to work with. You're not someone they want to surround yourself with because you are thinking with a limited mindset. And you're not someone that's going to excel the team or the group or the dynamic. Some of the best experiences I've had in life is when I've had a goal or an idea of something that I've never done before and I've been really daunted by it. And I've known that I'm probably going to be the weakest link in the room, but I've gone for it anyways. Usually when I do that, that's my superpower. That's my secret sauce. That's when I'm actually able to excel because I don't have any expectations for myself to perform a certain way, or I don't have the expectations on myself to be the best. And sometimes that's what you need to feel the most free and do your best work. So if you've never done something before, don't use that as an excuse to not try it. Get over your fear of feeling stupid. Get over your fear of failing. If you're gonna hold on to this fear, you're never gonna make it anywhere in life. If you're constantly putting yourself in situations where you're gonna be the best at whatever you're doing, you're not gonna grow because you're not gonna have anyone around you to learn from. It's so important that we just put our egos aside and stop trying to be the best person in the room at something. When you're putting yourself in situations that you've never been in before, or you're trying to solve a task that you've never solved before, that's when you are actually growing. And that's where you gain respect. Excuse number 3, I'm not ready. Oh my God. Okay. Newsflash, you're never gonna be ready. Ever. You're never gonna be ready for anything. You're never gonna be ready to give the presentation. You're never gonna be ready to end the relationship. You're never gonna be ready to have kids. You're never gonna be ready to do anything. But the reality is, if you want to live an extraordinary life, you have to get comfortable starting before you are ready. I always think of the example when people talk about having children, how some people are like, I don't know if I'm ready to have kids yet. And the people who've already had kids always say, you're never fully ready to have kids. You just have to jump in. And even when you think you are ready, you're not. So you're basically always, when it comes to having kids, you're basically always gonna not be ready because you have no idea what you're getting into at the end of the day. You might think you do, but until you have the experience, you really don't. But that's not a reason to not go for it. That's not a reason to start a family. Because by starting a family, you rise to the occasion and you make yourself ready. Same goes for anything in life, for a career, for a dream that you're going after. If we're waiting for the stars to perfectly align for us to go after a goal, then we're never gonna go after it. For instance, this YouTube channel. I had this idea for a channel for a few months before I started it. And I remember I just kept saying, well, I've got to get a nice camera and I've got to get a nice mic. And finally one day I was like, I'm just going to start it on my iPhone. I had bad audio. It was bad quality. It wasn't bad quality, but it wasn't the best. And I'm so glad I started it because if I hadn't started the YouTube channel, I probably never would have actually gotten the nice camera or the microphone. I would have just waited and never actually started. When you start before you're ready, you are telling the universe that you are ready for your next level. You are ready for the help and support of the universe. You are ready for the unknown and you can handle anything that it throws at you. Because when you start before you're ready, you are saying, I am okay with being uncomfortable. I am okay with learning new skills. I'm okay with the free fall of not knowing what's gonna happen next. And that is the most invigorating feeling there is. And that, my friend, is where the magic happens in life. So don't use the excuse that you're not ready yet, because the reality is you're never gonna be ready. If you keep waiting around to actually feel ready, guess what? There are gonna be 10 people in front of you who've already started the race and they're gonna be way ahead of you and you're gonna be behind. There are so many excuses. I could go on and on with the amount of excuses that you could use to not live your dream life, to not go for what you really want. Because sometimes actually going for what we really want can be the scariest thing in the world. We can say we want something, but in reality, we're actually scared of it. We're actually scared to death of it because if we actually get what we want, if we become our fullest potential, then what is there? Then what is there to complain about, really? So next time you have a great idea for a project you want to start or a dream you want to go after, don't let any of these excuses hold you back from actually taking action and beginning. The reality is, anytime you start a new venture, you're probably going to suck and it's probably going to be embarrassing. I look back on videos that I made a year ago and I am so embarrassed by them sometimes, but I'm also extremely proud of them because that is a girl who started before she was ready, knew she wasn't good at something, did it anyway, and learned the skills she needed to learn. Let me know in the comments what dream you have that you've been procrastinating about starting, that maybe you've had certain excuses that have kept you from just going all in. Let me know what that dream is. Because sometimes we just have to claim our dream in order to take the first step. That is it for the day. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button so you never miss a future episode. Leave me a comment. Thank y'all so much for joining me, and I'll see y'all next time.